The Moon Boys clearly delivering a reach-around surprise to the bears, as Bitcoin initiates a quite promising beginning to a potential recovery, laying the groundwork for the biggest bear trap of all time. Are the Bear Boys going to lay down and prepare to be completely ripped to shreds by the baby billionaires? Or are the bears hiding a secret weapon to utterly chew up, slurp, and gobble the Moon Boys once and for all? Or, in fact, are the bears absolutely boned, banged, mashed, smashed, and completely trashed for good? With the Moon Boys initiating a Friday bust and now a weekend mini bust as well, is this the beginning of the recovery that many people are expecting, hoping for, and in fact praying for? Or in fact, is this actually just one very big trap? So if you understand that it's not about how many times you can get dumped on, but it's about how many times you can get dumped on and keep on pumping on in, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get something to FEMEX below, kind of Bitcoin or altcoins. And without any further ado, let's absolutely dive into this absolutely insane information, data, analysis, and beyond. With Bitcoin putting in so far 3 green candles so far, again, we have the close of this candle in just a few hours, but more importantly, the weekly close is coming up in just a little bit over 24 hours. If we look at the daily chart for Bitcoin, this is the very first time that we've had a candle go above, a wick even, but a wick and a candle go above the 21-day moving average since falling below it back on April 22nd. So a little over 2 weeks ago. And this isn't just big, it's quite honestly quite large. In fact, Bitcoin really started, it fell below this 21-day moving average back on April 12th. Here we are May 4th. So it's pretty much, we're almost an entire month we've been trading below this 21-day moving average. So yes, for the past month, Bitcoin short-term has been in a bearish trend. But here we have the opportunity for the first time in about a month to reverse that. We look on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, and this is honestly quite insane. We have a weekly candle closing in about 24 hours. And look at this candle. This candle is almost entirely a wick. Just slightly right now, it's just slightly green. So we basically have to stay where we're at right now or higher for this to really close the week as a green candle. But if we get this candle to be a weekly candle close in the green, one, it'll be the first green weekly close since the end of March. So in over a month, the first weekly candle close that's green in over a month, if we get this, if we close right where we're at basically, or a little higher, and it is by far the first bullish looking weekly candle. Again, if we get a close, it's only about 24 hours away. If we get the close where we're at right now, or anywhere higher, this is the first bullish looking candle on the weekly chart for Bitcoin since March of this year. And it looks very identical to the time that we dumped back in January. We came not very close. We came down to about 38,000. At the time, the 21-week moving average was about 35,000. So within about $3,000. Here we have this wick so far coming down to about 56, and the 21-week is about 55. So we got very close to the 21-week. We could still absolutely go lower. All I'm saying, though, is that we pretty much, if we don't go any lower and we go up from here, we basically almost did have a tag, a retest of that 21-week moving average, which really is what I and a lot of people really look for on longer-term charts to just kind of say, have we actually had any cooling off, any reset of momentum, any back testing for support? Absolutely yes. At this point, we have now. We've been pretty much getting dumped on for 5 weeks. This 5th week, though, has the chance to be a green weekly candle. The very last 2 days of this week are potentially what might save this candle. We're basically in crunch mode right now, crunch mode. So the weekly chart, however, did have its first MACD tick into the red, which is something that's worth looking at. But if we look at the daily chart for Bitcoin, this is where all the short-term momentum I think is really important. We see the RSI actually having a bullish cross here. Getting above like the 51 level on the RSI would be our first higher high on the RSI since this downtrend began, which is big. But the biggest thing by far, in my opinion, is this MACD daily chart. Look at this on the daily. Back on March 13th. March 13th, Bitcoin topped out. It was its all-time high, a little over 73,000 US dollars. The MACD was all the way up here, insanely overbought, okay? Look where we're at now. We have cooled off. This has been an extremely healthy reset. It gives us now the juice to look forward over the next few weeks. We absolutely have dumped so much that we have so much ability to now continue pumping because we've reset all of this momentum. And it's not just, we're not overbought right now, simply not. We're actually very close to getting our first bullish MACD daily cross since February 27th. So well over 2 months was the last time we had a bullish cross here. Extremely significant, extremely important. You can see though that we had an attempt kind of back at the very beginning of April and then towards the middle of April, and both of these were failed crosses. They did not cross. We potentially had the chance to do that here at these levels. It was back here. Bitcoin got dumped on at the beginning of April, and then Bitcoin again continued to get dumped on about a week and a half later. But yeah, on this short term, we have the actual exciting possibility that in the short term, Bitcoin might actually have the potential to really start putting in some bullish momentum, especially as we go into this new week. I think that if you would ask me, has Bitcoin cooled off enough? Absolutely, it has. That doesn't guarantee that we're going to go straight up from here. But if you would look at this chart and think, are we really overbought? Are we really oversold right now? We're definitely not overbought. And that really is the key thing. I think if you want to simplify it, I don't like making it too complicated. This to me looks very simply like a successful retest there, especially if the stock market is also cooling down in terms of its dump and it's starting to ramp up again. We have put in a higher low on the SPX in the stock market. In fact, we've put in a higher high as well. So the health of the stock market is obviously crucial to Bitcoin as well. Bollinger Bands are still pretty tight because we've basically defended both of these areas where we tried to break down out of the Bollinger Bands back in the middle of April and now just recently over the last few days. And both of these immediately kind of got back into the Bollinger Bands. It kind of was where support was held. And now we also held support at the 100-day moving average right here. And right now we're testing to see if we can get above the 21-day moving average. So as I've been saying, I actually made the case for this a couple days ago. Basically, this is exactly so far the steps. We're a few steps in now where there's now only a few steps left for this to actually be a completed recovery and for the bottom to be cemented and for Bitcoin to have the ability to climb higher. Again, if you would ask, I would say we need at least a couple daily closes above the 21-day moving average, just cementing it now as support. Because as you can see, as we keep talking about, this green line, last time we were here, rejected, okay? Trying to hold it for support here, rejected. So yeah, we've been defeated by the 21-day moving average for the past month. And if we're actually able to hold this, claim it, and then obviously get above the last significant daily moving average, 50-day around 66, then eventually we will have a bullish cross, just like we had a bearish cross in the middle of April. We had a bearish cross here. If we can get a bullish cross, this is what happened last time Bitcoin crossed bullish on the daily chart. It was at about 49,000. It ran all the way up to over 73,000. So baby steps. It's not all going to happen in one day, but really the main thing to watch is if Bitcoin can get a daily close above 63,500. About 63,500. That can be extremely bullish in the short term if we can do that for just a few daily candles and continue to kind of push higher, especially if we set a higher high above about 67.5. That again would be more of a confirmation that, hey, actually Bitcoin is looking bullish even in the short term. And get signed up with FEMEX or BINGX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. And without further ado,